What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are going to be reacting to what we got to hear today from Matt Patricia and Aaron Rodgers. Hold up. I know what you're all thinking. Aaron Rodgers? Are you serious? No, it's actually about the Lions, but it's from Aaron Rodgers. So I'm throwing in a couple of clips. I get it, okay? You don't want to hear from Rodgers. Honestly, I didn't want to hear it either. But one of my subscribers asked me if I checked out his interview with Pat McAfee, and I was like, no, I didn't. So I guess I will. So I watched the interview, and I was like, okay, there are a couple of Lion things in here. So I'm going to save those, and then I'm going to put them in this video. So let's do it. Let's get it started.
I got to shout out DoseOfDion, man, because it was actually the first time I went live on YouTube. And, guys don't know DoseOfDion. He put out a lot of good content for the Detroit Lions.
Welcome everybody to another video. Glad you guys are here, and I think this is going to be pretty darn entertaining. There's some good stuff in here that we got to hear from Matt Patricia this morning, and also from Aaron Rodgers about the Detroit Lions and kind of just the NFL in general. Not a ton, just a little bit. We didn't really get any injury updates from Matt Patricia this morning. All we got was that Joe Dahl's on a three-week IR, basically saying that we don't think it's super serious to the point where he may be out for the year. It's probably just a 3-week thing, but that's really all we got. I mean, that's really all we had so far today when it comes to injuries. So we'll see later after they go through practice to see who participated. But I did want to do a video on this. We did this yesterday with the coordinators. We got some really good answers today, so I wanted to do a video on this. Also, you guys see my shirt? Look at that. Are you kidding me? I haven't worn the shirt in so long, and then I saw it, and I was like, dude, I gotta wear this shirt. So let's get into it. Nothing to do with, the video at all, but I like this shirt. Okay, we're going to start off with Matt Patricia and what he had to say. He was asked if he was surprised about the slow start, even though we have all of this roster turnover, right? Since Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn have been here, there's been a huge roster turnover. Honestly, since Matt Patricia's here, when he came here into where he is now, not many players are still here. Like, there's a lot of moving pieces, a lot of different players on this roster, and he was asked, well, are you a little surprised with the slow start that you've had with all of your guys, your guys? He says, no, he's not, because one, it's September, and we've only been here really together for 2 weeks. We've had the very short off season, so it's really about just, keep continuing to work with each other, continuing to be comfortable with each other. And I see what he's saying. I definitely do. I mean, of course, we want to see it take a jump. We want to see them pick this thing up. And I think that's maybe a little bit of a reason for optimism to look at it and say, yeah, you're right. I mean, a lot of these guys have only been here for 2 weeks, or really playing together for 2 weeks because of the weird off season. Like, yes, they've been with the Patriots before, but you're still mixing new guys in together into Matt Patricia and Corey Undlin's basically scheme of things, and that changes every week. So I can definitely see what he's saying here, that he's not necessarily surprised, but we would like to see it pick up very, very soon. We definitely would. Maybe that's a little bit of a reason for optimism. Now he's talking about Kyler Murray, and I thought there was a great answer here, and I didn't even think of this. And it was actually a great question, I will say. And I didn't even think of this when I did the video. If you guys want to go check out that video about who the Lions signed this morning, you can. But he was asked about Kyler Murray. He said he's so dangerous because, of how fast he is, how athletic he is. And you can cover well, but it's just like that 1 minute. You can play 58 minutes of great defense, but it's those 2 minutes that he can exploit the defense and he can make some huge plays. So you really have to keep your eye on him. He kind of reminds him a little bit of Russell Wilson with that rushing ability. You don't want to let him play what they call street ball. You kind of want to keep it as to where you kind of have him contained, right? You want to contain a guy like Kyler Murray. We'll see how Lions go about that. It's definitely going to be a difficult task because so far in 2 weeks, he has killed teams on the ground. Well, we know this morning the Lions went out and signed Joe Webb to their practice squad. And I didn't even think about this. I don't know why I didn't think about this. But when the question was asked, I was like, oh, that makes so much sense. Joe Webb could kind of be like Kyler Murray in the Detroit Lions practice. Okay, now hear me out. Joe Webb is a quarterback / wide receiver. I know Kyler Murray is not a receiver, but Joe Webb, he's a veteran in this league, right? He's been in here since, early 2010s. He's been in the league. And again, we did a video on him, so if you guys want to check it out, you can. He's extremely athletic. He has big size. He's way bigger than Kyler Murray, but his ability to also play the quarterback position could allow the Lions to play him in any different spots, like Matt Patricia says, and almost use him as their kind of Kyler Murray in certain situations, just to know how the defense should prepare for the Arizona Cardinals heading into this week. I didn't even see that when the Lions signed him. Like, when the Lions brought him in, I didn't even think of that. I didn't think of that at all, and I was like, wow, how did I miss that? So I did want to point out. It was a great question because I was like, wow, I didn't even think of it. So maybe this is part of the Lions' game plan heading into this weekend against Arizona, that they get a guy like Joe Webb, because otherwise it doesn't make too much sense, but now it does. I see what we're doing, Detroit. There's this one quote that Matt Patricia basically said in today's interview, and let me just say, he's been a little bit trolled on social media, definitely. Twitter's going at him. Hey, everybody's going at him on social media. Let's just be honest here. It's been pretty unfortunate for Matt Patricia. Hopefully he doesn't have Instagram or Twitter because it's been rough in the streets. But Matt Patricia did say that at this time they're still trying to figure out, what everybody does well together, right? What kind of everybody does as a team, their strengths and things like that going into the season. Because again, it's a short off season, so you're trying to figure everything out. And I know some people are trolling Matt Patricia because of this and what he said. But when you hear what Aaron Rodgers also had to say on the Pat McAfee show, he says something very similar. Aaron Rodgers basically comes out and says that's kind of the same thing, that teams really don't figure out their identity 2 weeks into the season, right? Everybody's still trying to figure things out. So just 2 weeks in, everybody's kind of overreacting at this point. And to every team that is trying to figure out their identity and who they are heading into, the season.
I think it's ridiculous. I really do. We're 2 weeks in. Let things play out. Teams don't figure out their identity until weeks in the season. You know this, Pat, AJ. Like, it takes a while to figure out what kind of team you are. Obviously, we had a ton of injuries yesterday or 2 days ago. It's some marquee players, which is going to affect, the teams and their how they look. Obviously the Niners had some really tough injuries. Saquon in New York. There was a ton of injuries across the league. So let's let these teams settle in, see who's healthy, and see what kind of teams they're going to be in.
I mean, we know about certain guys, but it's a team as a whole, especially for the Detroit Lions defense. And when Matt Patricia was asked if there was any kind of, sense of urgency because now you're 0-2, but he did say that there's been teams in NFL history that have gotten off to a slow start and finished incredibly strong, extremely strong. And there's also teams that have gotten out to a hot start and finished very slow.
There's certainly, like I said, a lot of teams in the history of the NFL that have started out not very well, that have finished extremely strong, and teams that have started off really well that finished not very good at all. That's part of the NFL. It's an interesting, difficult season. It's a grind, and obviously the biggest trick to all of it is to try to improve as you go through the year.
That's very true. I mean, we have seen that before. We've even seen that probably in the Lions' history, I would say. I don't think completely very slow, but we remember Lions were off to a 5-0 start. They finished 10-6. It's not super slow, but it is a losing record. I mean, your last 11 games is a losing record. That's 5-6 from a 5-0 start. It happens. So maybe, again, another reason to be optimistic that somehow, some way the Lions could turn this thing around. I mean, I believe, but not many people do. It's okay. I get it. But maybe that's another reason for optimism. And I just want to point that out because Aaron Rodgers kind of said a similar thing here, that teams are really trying to figure their identity out. And hopefully the Lions can very soon because we need to. And asked about the receiving core that Arizona is going to present. He said, look, DeAndre Hopkins, he's great. He's phenomenal. He can do everything. You run every single route. But you can't mention the Cardinals receiving group without Larry Fitzgerald. I'm not going to lie, I always forget Fitzgerald is over there. But for some reason, Larry Fitzgerald, every single year, man, for so many years, this guy is great. No matter what you ask of him, he is just great. I mean, that's the simplest way to describe Larry Fitzgerald. He's great. Okay, this dude could be 70 years old. He's great. He's going to go out there and make plays. He's always difficult to stop, especially now with DeAndre Hopkins. So hopefully we get Desmond Trufant back because, some of these young cornerbacks are probably going to struggle once again against the Arizona Cardinals. And we probably still will, even with Desmond Trufant is there because, it's still a very tough task. Finally, he was asked, well, do you see a light at the end of the tunnel? And Matt Patricia just kind of stared at him for a second and was like, hey, man, you have to see a light at the end of the tunnel.
So you see light at the end of the tunnel?
I think you have to. Yeah. Okay. I mean, for us, like Stoney, you know me, right? I know. We got to always try to get better. We got to try to improve. And, if you're a person that walks around without seeing light at the end of the tunnel, then, man, that's probably not a good day.
I completely agree with that. I love what he's saying here. I feel like this is a very, very good message that he's sending here. Everybody, in whatever you do, if you don't see the good, or if you don't see a bright future, then that's a big problem. You're doing something wrong. It has to be with everything. And if you're not looking at things like that and you don't believe that it can get to that, light at the end of the tunnel, if you don't believe there's light out there, if you believe it's just dark, then that's probably a problem. You're probably doing something wrong. So hopefully there is some light at the end of this tunnel. Hopefully there is, and the Lions can start to pick things up. And like Matt Patricia said, finish extremely strong. Now moving on to Aaron Rodgers, just a couple points I took away from what he said. He talked about Jeffrey Okudah, and he said, look, attacking rookies isn't necessarily, he said he didn't necessarily go out with a game plan to attack Jeffrey Okudah. However, he did. He had like 10 targets on Jeff Okudah. But he said, look, I meant what I said when they drafted him, that we're going to have to get completions and touchdowns on him now, because he's going to be a heck of a player. Like, this guy's going to be really good once he starts to figure things out.
Numerous guys over the years who you've gone against in our division who hey, you better throw some completions and touchdowns on him early, because this guy is going to figure it out and be a hell of a player.
So high praise for Jeffrey Okudah, even though he's been off to a slow start, but he's not the only rookie off to a slow start. Jeffrey Okudah's been in a tough spot because he really doesn't have any vets around him either. But when you look across the league, you see guys like Isaiah Simmons off to a very slow start. You kind of see it across the league that a lot of these players are slow starters because, you know what, NFL and college, they're a completely different game. Especially when you're a very high pick, you're usually not around the best team, so that can make it kind of difficult as well. Number 40 on the Lions defense was stumping like the biggest hits that he's ever heard. And yeah, you know, Jarrad Davis, man, he's going to thump people. He brought up specifically that play where Jarrad Davis kind of came on a little bit of a delayed blitz, and he got in, he just rocked Aaron Jones. Now, Jones held up to give Aaron Rodgers the chance to throw it deep on Okuda, which eventually he burnt Okuda, but he held up. But, you know, Jarrad Davis is going to hit people. Thumper, that's a very good way to describe JD. He is a thumper. He just needs to be more consistent. He has a lot of things to improve upon, but you can't question this guy's want to hit somebody. Like, this guy just wants to run through somebody, and when he hits you, he's hitting you. Like he'll miss tackles, but if you get a head-on shot, this guy is probably going to run through you. It's pretty nasty. This guy will thump you. So, yeah, man, that's what we have from today's takeaways. I thought there was some good here. I felt like this was a good conference. This one made you feel kind of good about everything, and hopefully the Lions can turn things around. I thought that the whole Kyler Murray thing with Joe Webb is so interesting. Is that what the Lions looking to do here? It would make sense. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I'm out. I don't know what's going on here. I feel like a weather person. I don't know why I'm holding this either. But look at all these members. Are you kidding me? Hall of Fame, All-Pro, patrons. Look how many All-Pro members. I can't even see the bottom, dog. What? If you guys want to be a part of this, all you got to do is click the join button. It's on the homepage of my YouTube channel. But this is absolutely nuts. Shout out to you guys. This is crazy. I had to bring out my cool shirt for this one, okay? Because y'all are legends. I had to bring out the legends. See what I'm doing?